So welcome to the workshop on breeding and breeding controls. This is our third workshop. I want to say particular thanks to industry participants and key stakeholders for attending the workshops. I think it's a bit of a stress having so many workshops. You're sort of a bit surprised as to whether people are actually going to be interested in attending. This is about the industry, participants in the industry and key stakeholders having their say. That in the previous two workshops, it's not been about GRV getting up and telling you what to do. You can see that. You can see it's a dialogue with participants who have got a lot more knowledge on things and a lot of experience on things, more so than many of the GRV staff. And for us, I've got to tell you, it's been absolutely sensational. The level of content and insights, I've learned so much in the first two workshops. It's just been a wonderful opportunity for me. I couldn't have paid to get the sort of, the learning that I've got from the workshops, and it's completely changed my views on things. Last week, particularly track design, track safety and lures, I just got a real insight into some of the issues I'd never really thought about before in the way that you guys look at it. And in the first one, trialling facilities, training facilities, trial tracks. Again, it was a really interesting, an interesting exchange of views. If I could say, the other thing I wanted to mention to you as a group and to the people on the panel as well, that Victoria is giving you certainty. We're not saying to you, oh, it's going to be really difficult to sustain 22 race meets. Oh, we're going to have to cut the prize money. We're not saying that. We're saying 22 race meets next year, rain, hail or shine, prize money untouched. That you've got certainty in Victoria going forward. We want to give the industry certainty because the lead times for us, particularly when you're looking at issues like breeding and breeding controls, we've got a 18-month, 20-month lead time in that, and we need to understand that in the context of planning, because one of the things you're going to see today is the drop-off in litters since live baiting. However, I'm not so much worried about that, but others might, and that's part of the topic for today. So in the context of producing a new regulatory framework and improving the integrity of the industry, what we're on about is sustainability and longevity for the greyhound industry in Victoria. What does the social licence mean? It means that the community have an expectation that we will place animal welfare first. So the two issues that sit under the social licence, the two big issues, are live baiting and euthanasia. Now, we're going to see the figures today in terms of euthanasia, and obviously there's what I call the left side and the right side of this. There's some people in the room will say, yeah, you've got to adopt, you've got to rehome. And then there's the other side about the breeding and how many numbers we need. I think one of the things that the industry doesn't understand very well is the relationship between litters and how many dogs we need to race. I don't think you understand that very well. I think people concentrate on litters and you don't actually understand what we really need to run the racing industry. We've got to do better on the utilisation of dogs bred. Victoria's performance in that is the worst of any state at the moment in terms of utilisation rate, the worst. And we've got to come to grips with what the utilisation and how we improve that from dogs bred. And that will be another topic. With that, I'll hand over to back to John or to Stuart. I'll hand over to Stuart. Thanks very much for your attendance today. It's been a real pleasure that you come, and I look forward to another really great workshop. Thank you.
How important is GAP?
I think GAP is very important to the greyhound industry. The more dogs we can get homed out, the better it is for our industry. As trainers and breeders and that, we all love our dogs, and unfortunately we can't keep them all. So, and there's, some dogs aren't suitable to GAP, but a lot of them are suitable to GAP. So if we can get homes for them, that's, it just fantastic for us.
So if there was one thing we could do to get the euthanasia rate down in the Victoria's greyhound racing industry, what would you suggest it would be?
Probably education with participants on how to breed and rear properly. I think the biggest fall down, what's coming out of this meeting today is the biggest fall down in the industry is people just don't know how to rear. Some of the regulations, in my opinion, are pretty ordinary, like where you can only have 2 dogs per yard, that in a yard over 9 months of age, that just doesn't strike me the right way, because we're racing a dog in an 8-dog field, yet you can only have 2 dogs rearing them together. It just doesn't seem right to me.
So to you, is it very important that we face these issues like euthanasia now and resolve what we're going to do in our industry?
Yeah, I think it's very wise to get feedback from participants, because a lot of senior staff in GRV are very intelligent people but don't have any knowledge with greyhounds. So it's very important to have a conduit between the people that have the product and the people that are running the show, so everyone can understand each other, you know.
One of the things that GRV is thinking of doing is education training centres. Would that be a good idea?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's the human element that appears to be falling down or lacking in a lot of areas here.
How important is a workshop such as this?
Look, I'm all for awareness and education, because you can't blame people for doing the wrong thing if they don't really know. And as leaders, you have to be able to take the hand of people that just don't know enough and lead them in the right direction.
Okay, is the high rate of euthanasia that we have in Victoria now on dogs, is it too high? What should we do about it?
If you speak to the opponents of the industry, one would be too high. I think we're dealing with livestock or racing animals, and you're going to get some sort of dogs that just don't get through to maturity. But I think that we just have to keep working on reducing those numbers and finding those dogs a good place to race, which is their ability, or a good home.
So education is a key to many things. Education of the greyhound industry, is that important?
Yes, it is, because a lot of people just think they're going down the right path, but they aren't. And so you just need people like Paul Wheeler and some other leading people in the industry just to talk and let them hear. And sometimes a little light globe comes up above people's heads and they think, I haven't been doing that. But yes, we do. In any form, or any racing or any business, sport, you do need education and awareness.